What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about one of my favorite topics. This is actually my expertise. We're going to talk today about how to help you guys lose weight without actually dieting. We've got JJ with us, and we're actually going out for a hike right now, and this is my number one tip for you, is just to move more. So many people often think to lose weight they have to just cut all their calories, quit eating carbs. Not the case, friends. You have to make it a lifestyle change, and what most people don't do enough of is just move. Doesn't have to mean going to a gym. It can be taking your dog out for a walk, taking yourself out for a walk, and just get your body moving more. Jason and I both love wearing our fitness trackers. I can tell you that in itself has made me more mindful of my movement. JJ is gonna help me give tip number 2 for you. And I just wanna preface this by saying a lot of people think being a dietitian, I want people to eat less. And in fact, I often tell people not to diet and to eat more. So a lot of these tips are gonna be along that concept that I use with a lot of my clients that do really work. So this next tip for you is to slow down with eating. I can't stress this enough. I've mentioned this tip before. Take the time to slow down with your meals. Even if you have to set a timer, you don't have to do this with every single meal, but set a timer for 20 to 30 minutes and actually slow down and savor your food. Put your fork down in between bites, have a conversation if you're dining with someone, or even if you're eating alone, just really slow down and try to be in the moment more. It does take at least 15 to 20 minutes for your stomach to send that signal up to your brain and say, yo, sister, I'm full, time to stop. So if you're eating in less than 20 minutes, you're not even giving yourself time to know if you're full. So you really shouldn't be eating your meals in less than 20 minutes. So take your time. I know we're all in a rush, we're all super busy, we're doing 70 different things at once, but slow down.
And what do you think about cooking your own food and like actually enjoying the cooking process? Do you think that helps?
One of my tips too. Actually, I know for sure that helps me, is cooking my own food.
I didn't mean to screw up your tips.
No, you didn't. It does help me. And actually, I feel like when I eat with someone else versus eating alone, it helps me too, because I just, being in conversation with others, it forces me to slow down. And I notice I always eat less if I eat with someone else versus if I'm eating alone and kind of multitasking, doing other things. As Jason was saying before, eating from home can actually assist in your weight loss goals. And it can also help you save a little money too. But for those people that have been successful with weight loss, most people report eating meals from home at least 5 times or more throughout the week. So think about how often you're eating out versus prepping your own meals at home. It doesn't have to mean that you have to cut calories, but by default, when you're cooking for yourself at home, you do have a little bit more satisfaction from the cooking process, the meals that you're making, and naturally tend to have more control over how much fat you're consuming. And it's really easy to still eat the foods you love. Say you want to have a cheeseburger and fries, cooking that at home and having control over it, you're probably going to eat less calories with that cheeseburger and fries than you would out to a restaurant. Doesn't mean you have to eat chicken and broccoli with every meal, you guys. You can have fun, and if it sounds too cumbersome for you, do like I do. I have tons of other meal prep videos you can watch. I do simple, easy meal prep. I have things ready to go, chopped up in the fridge. There's so many ways around it if you're not someone who loves cooking to make it really easy and fit your lifestyle. Sleep more and lose more weight. So how many hours a night are you guys sleeping? I want you to comment below the average amount of hours of sleep you get per week. If you don't know, you definitely should be tracking this. Again, this ain't sponsored by my watch, but this is another reason why I got this watch, because it tracks my sleep.
And that's the Fitbit Sense, because people are going to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we haven't said that, so
yeah,
Fitbit Sense.
I'm always really bad at remembering what kind of watch it is other than a Fitbit. So that tracks it. So research has shown, there was a research study done at the University of Minnesota or something, where those folks who all ate the same caloric level, who slept 1 hour more per night, actually lost more weight. So they say you could lose up to 14 pounds over a year just sleeping 1 extra hour a night. which sounds like an easy task, but it can be difficult to get more sleep, right? So something I encourage you to focus on if you're frustrated with your weight and things not moving. What is your sleep looking like? Are you only getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep at night? It's not enough. Try to bump that up to 7 to 9 if you can, or just focusing on getting that 1 extra hour a night. Reason being that they've shown when you are not sleeping, you're usually doing more like idle activities, not really moving around as much, and tend to do more mindless snacking and have increased appetite when you're not getting enough sleep. So that can kind of drive some of the hormones as well, forcing you to feel a bit more hungry. But when you're more well rested, your hunger tends to be more natural, more intuitive, and you tend to not overeat as much. So instead of thinking you have to slash the calories, focus on the sleep first.
And just to expand on the watch and sleep.
Yeah.
So I've been working very hard to try to improve my sleep. So you may think, well, how can a tracker help me improve my sleep? It's just telling me how I slept.
Yeah.
Well, you can use that with your own data in your mind. Like, okay,
yeah.
I had a 70 sleep score instead of an 80 or 90. What did I do last night?
What did I do
was on my phone.
Right.
Or I ate a meal right before I went to bed, because I know eating late F's me up.
It does F
I don't
you up.
sleep as good.
I noticed that for you.
I try to get off my phone, and then I noticed over time making these little changes, tracking it on my watch, and just being cognitive of what I've been doing, I've been able to improve my sleep.
Same for me too, actually. Funny you mentioned that. Like, I'm just competitive with myself too, and I like data, so seeing if I wasn't getting even 7 hours of sleep annoys me, and it forces me like to come home. And I've noticed too, if I'm on my phone late at night, I tend to not go to bed as early, and I don't have as deep of sleep. So it's really kind of forced me to like not be on my phone. By 8 p.m. I'm really trying to just set the phone on the counter and be done with her for the night and not even look at it. And that's really helped.
That's
change.
huge for me too.
It's really improved my sleep scores and just how I feel when I wake up the next morning. I actually want you guys to eat more to lose weight. So one thing you can do instead of taking away from your diet is add in more fresh fruits and vegetables. It doesn't have to be fresh. I just prefer fresh, especially this time of year in the summer. But adding more fruits and veggies into your diet is going to increase the fiber content of what you're consuming. It's also going to increase the water content as well. So anytime you eat more fruits and veggies, you naturally just feel a bit more full. They are not calorie dense, so I don't care what kinds you're eating. And fruit, high in sugar, it's natural sugar, so we can all simmer down unless you are a diabetic and really need to watch every gram of sugar. Next up for a tip, just to feel more full throughout the day, because I know none of us want to feel hungry when trying to lose weight. So filling up on more voluminous foods. I mentioned fruits and veggies before. Also, sipping on soup. Don't forget about soup. I know it's summertime, but having a good bone broth, something broth-based versus like a creamy, like I'm not talking like broccoli cheddar soup, all right, but more of like a broth-based soup, very low calorie, can fill you up. Just add that extra hydration and volume into your diet so that you're feeling a bit more satisfied. So just getting like creative with the volume in your diet and what you're selecting with each of your meals can go a really long way.
Also for these guys, you may not be hungry. You just may be thirsty.
It's truth. I'm thirsty right now. And
I've really noticed that lately. I'm like, man, I can't, like, I'm hungry all day, but then I drink and I'm like, oh, I wasn't hungry. Kara told me I'm probably dehydrated and thirsty.
Yes. Similarly, I've noticed I'll be at work and like, if anyone relates to like the 3 p.m. like headache or energy, like fatigue where you're feeling like you just need to snack or something, oftentimes when I get that, it's because I haven't drank enough water throughout the day. So I try to do a water check if all of a sudden I think I'm like reaching for a snack when I don't really need it, and I chug some water, and it usually cures my headache, and I don't usually have any hunger. It's just a matter of not drinking enough. So that really does go a long way, upping your hydration. Swapping out some of the foods you're eating, for instance, switching from any of like your refined white flour type items and switching over to whole grains. So whole grain breads, doing brown rice, barley, things like that. Have more fiber in them, so it's gonna make you feel a bit more full versus the white counterparts, and typically they're not any higher in calories. So just being more mindful with some of your choices and simply just switching over to whole grains can make you feel fuller and kind of decrease your calories at the end of the day. For my soda drinkers or my latte lovers, sometimes just swapping out and being more mindful of those sugary drinks that you may consume. I do enjoy a good sugary drink on occasion, but in terms of being able to lose weight, sometimes that can be the one swap you make that can make all the difference. I've had clients that even just change their milk preference if they're a whole milk drinker, and we get them down to like a 2% depending on how much milk you drink. Sometimes that in itself can cut the calories without actually reducing the volume in your diet. And remember too, oftentimes if you're drinking like a Coca-Cola, the amount of sugar that's in there, your body often doesn't recognize liquid sugar in terms of hunger and fullness the way a solid food would in your body. So it doesn't react the same, and you usually consume all those calories, all that sugar, and you feel no satisfaction from it in terms of fullness. So for me, that's why I try not to have a ton of calories coming from fluids, because I know it doesn't fill me up, and I'd personally rather make more calories come from whole foods that are actually going to fill me up. It makes it a lot easier.
I hate drinking my calories.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate it. Unless it's like the coffee we make. But that's satisfying.
Yeah, that's different though.
Coffee,
like add like the protein to it.
The milk.
Yeah, and like don't get me wrong, I am that girl that will enjoy a pumpkin spice latte or things like that on occasion.
Almost pumpkin spice latte season.
Woo woo! But if you're someone that has that every day or a sugary drink with every meal, that is like such an easy, I feel like it's such an easy swap, but I know some people just love their Pepsis or love their Cokes or their Mountain Dews, and it can make it really hard. But finding some alternate beverages to drink, that way you can fill up on food, can go so far.
I like how he's showing everyone his bow.
You like that, guys? I could go on and on with the tips, you guys. This is what I do, but I think the moral of the story here is it doesn't have to be super hard. I think we overcomplicate things. Taking a look at your lifestyle and finding small little places that you're willing to, that's really huge. You have to be willing to make some tiny changes and then build upon those. You don't have to change everything all at once. If it's the drinks, if it's adding in more fruits and veggies, choose a one thing to work on. Maybe it's just focusing on your sleep for a month or two. It takes time, you guys. There's no miracle quick results here, so you do have to kind of slowly implement these changes, stay patient with yourself, and there's always room for improvement with any of us. So that's going to be it for me, guys. I will see you in the next video. Be sure to like this video before you head on out, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.
Even though we got different mics on, can I just add one thing to your saying movement on your watch you're showing everyone?
Yeah.
Also, staying active keeps you from being bored. Being bored, a lot of people turn to food because they're bored. So if you're busy during the day, if you're going on hikes like we did, there goes an hour, there goes 2 hours.
Yeah.
A day that takes you away from food, especially if you're struggling because you just eat out of habit. That helps break that habit, I feel like.
Yeah, if you're someone that like is thinking about food like a large percentage of the day, obviously we need food to survive, and food for pleasure is okay too, but finding other ways to cope and to occupy your time to enjoy your life beyond food, I think is super important too.
There's a finishing tip. You cannot.
I can't?
No.
Dang it.